We all know that one of the core values of old money is manners and etiquette, so I'm so excited to start a new series with you today all about etiquette secrets. Now, before we can start building our etiquette, we first need to know what is etiquette and what it's all about. What I'm finding is that people often jump to the idea of etiquette being what fork to use or what glass to use or how to get out of a car. And even though those are things that we should be thinking about when we think about etiquette, there are going to be other things that precede that. Etiquette is the customary code of polite or appropriate behavior in society or among members of a particular profession or group. Simply put, it is what we call good manners. Etiquette is all about being and putting others at ease so we can all get along together. Etiquette is considerate and thoughtful behavior and knowing some conventions that civilized people are familiar with, allowing us to get on with enjoying and attending each other's company. Now, my two favorite parts about what we just heard is that it is considerate and it is civilized, because I feel like once you understand that if you can be considerate of others and you can be civilized, that is the basic concept around etiquette. And I think if you start to think that, ooh, it's a little bit silly as per what fork, what knife, what glassware, if you bring it back to this was implemented, this was thought of because we are first trying to be considerate and civilized, I think it allows you to understand the concept as a whole and also not rebel against the particular piece of etiquette that you might be learning. You'll understand that there is a purpose behind it, and therefore you will respect it and be more keen to learn it. I put this etiquette reel over on TikTok and on Instagram, and it blew up and people were not happy. I think because a lot of us are in places where we have to be mindful about safety. But if you also look at the reason for wanting to put a purse behind you as opposed to on the table, it's because you're being considerate and it's because you are being civilized to the person that you're meeting. Especially if you look at the table that I'm at there, really, it's not enough space to have a handbag and keys and everything else on it. So although this one tends to be a little bit controversial, you can understand the thought behind it. Now, due to safety, some people might want to have their handbag on a little footstool beside them if a restaurant does offer that. However, I think if we can take the things that we are learning and understand that first and foremost, they're coming from a place of consideration of the other people that you're with and being civilized. Proper etiquette or manners communicates the type of person that you are. Now, proper etiquette conveys the character or the type of person that you are. We delved deep into this in the Old Money series when we were talking about our personal grooming and the clothing that we wear. Etiquette will dictate your behavior in a social setting, whether it's an official setting or a casual setting. And then the standards of etiquette will dictate how your behavior is judged and how people will assess your character. Here's the thing, we all have standards of etiquette that we judge other people by. Think about the last time you got a gift, or maybe you observed someone not giving a good gift or not saying thank you, or how they said thank you, or how they answered the phone, or how they were on the phone. We have standards of etiquette that we are judging everything off of, and I think once you understand that, you will understand how important manners and etiquette is, and you might start to geek out on learning proper etiquette for as many situations as you can. Or maybe I'm just speaking for myself. Whenever I talk to people outside of this community and they find out what I do online or what my website is about or what I talk about on Instagram and TikTok, I get a little bit of pushback when I say some of the things that I speak about, and one of them being etiquette, because I think people have this concept in your mind that we're just talking about the formal interactions in life. But once I explain to them how etiquette really just makes sense and it allows you to put other people at ease, they do end up coming around and they do end up getting it. I'll still get the odd joke of, sorry, this wasn't appropriate. And I think because people then start questioning their own behavior and it makes them feel a little bit uneasy. But I think that's why I love talking about etiquette, is because you don't have that uneasiness. You actually have a lot of confidence when you learn to employ the proper etiquette. And here's the thing, often when you are practicing proper etiquette, no one is going to realize that that is what you're doing. They are just going to think that you are a thoughtful, kind person that is considerate, and they end up liking you more because of this. Etiquette is not something that you turn on when you feel you may need to. It is not a code of conduct that you suddenly assume in specific circumstances. Etiquette will only serve in your best interest if it is a way of life. If it is something you learn to practice until it becomes a part of who you are and comes naturally from the inside. Etiquette is an everyday code of conduct in our daily life, and it comes down to our relationships with fellow human beings. It is in how we relate to people and how we treat them and how we will carry ourselves. To have good manners means putting other people first, to think of people other than just ourselves. It is about being honest, considerate, polite, trustworthy, kind, and courteous in our interactions or engagements. It is also an understanding of conventions and behaving accordingly as a woman to put other people at ease and avoiding embarrassment for ourselves or others. I just said a few minutes ago that people often end up liking you more when you practice proper etiquette. And I do think that it needs to be said, this isn't about you being fake. This isn't about you being false or trying to manipulate somebody else. You genuinely should be wanting to practice this proper etiquette because you're trying to make yourself a better person or respect the person that you're dealing with as much as possible. Etiquette at the end of the day requires a sincere attitude and respect for others. Etiquette leading voice Emily Post says, "Good manners reflect something from the inside, an innate sense of consideration for others and respect for self." So what does good manners say about you? Good manners grow from within a person's character. And sometimes it is so difficult to forge these new habits and behaviors if we don't learn them from young. So if you are a mother watching this or a father, try to implement these manners and this etiquette in your children from young, because it will be so much easier to adopt. I think we often think about the please and the thank yous, but how can we expand on that? How can we make our children better than just the please and thank yous? In the next video, we'll be talking about all the practical reasons that you may want to brush up on your etiquette. I hope you will join me.